Hello there, guys. It's me, Dirt Muffin here, back for Chapter 18 of The Golden Armor. Winded. Yeah, let's get started. The Golden Armor. Chapter 18. Moving Forward. It took Comet several minutes to reach the hotel where his parents were. It wasn't a cozy-looking place, but Comet had learned from them long ago that cozy was only as real as those next to you. Still in armor, Comet landed on the balcony outside their room and peered inside. His parents, Mangrove and Sunstorm, were busy doing various things. His mother was reading a book, and his dad seemed to be cleaning up the room, particularly when he pulled up a blanket. Comet felt dread as he reached up and tapped on the door, getting their attention. His mother gave a huge gasp and ran over to the door and throwing it wide open. "Comet, is that you?" "Oh God, that's not..." "Okay," she asked in her usually gleeful tone. Comet managed a small smile and nodded before his mother wrapped him in a huge hug. While she tried to make the armor fit even more snugly with some unimaginable amounts of strength, Sunstorm walked up with a proud smile on his face. "Hello, Comet. I must say that armor looks splendid on you," he said, happiness weaved into his voice. Comet offered another weak smile, and his mom let go. The smile vanished instantly. "Sweetie, what's wrong?" his mother asked. Her mom's sense going off. Something was clearly upsetting her pride and joy, and she hoped it wasn't what she thought it was. Comet gave a large sigh before starting. "Did you two tell Angel about Nova?" Comet asked, confirming his mother's fears. The proud smile on Sun's face dropped like a rock, and his mother took an interest in the floor. Neither one responded, and Comet knew why. "I thought we'd agreed that I would be the one to tell any pony about Nova when I was ready," he said, feeling like he had control of his emotions again, though he felt empty inside. "Son, we were only doing what we thought necessary," Sun said with no hint of regret in his voice. Comet wanted to be angry with him for betraying his trust. He really did. Instead, all he felt was the hurt of his actions and sadness of making Angel cry. Comet dropped his gaze like his mother and somehow found the power to continue. I was gonna tell her eventually," he said bleakly. "We all know that's a lie, son," Sunstorm replied firmly. It irked Comet that he said it like that, but he let it drop. He wasn't here to argue with his parents. "Look, I came here to say something to both of you," Comet said through gritted teeth. "I wanted to say..." Comet clenched his jaw, knowing this would bring up raw memories, better left forgotten. He took a deep breath and returned his gaze to his parents, who were both staring at him with slightly wide eyes. To both of them, they were hoping he would say he was finally letting Nova go. They had secretly hoped for years that Comet would come and tell them that he was ready to move on. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry," Comet forced out. "I'm sorry for what I've said to you in the past. I'm also sorry about Nova." His mother gasped and held a hoof up to her mouth, while Sun felt as if he had just been punched in the stomach. The moment they'd been waiting to happen for years, was finally happening. The first thing Comet registered was the sudden impact of two bodies against his. The second pressure they were exerting on his armor he wore. Both Sun and Mangrove held Comet into a powerful hug. Okay. One that almost brought Comet back to tears. The three ponies stood in silence and hugged each other. Mangrove silently teared up, and Sun felt more pride in his son than seeing him in his official armor. Oh shit. "I'm really sorry about her. I'm sorry. I was okay with her leaving," Comet gasped, trying to hold himself together. The two ponies let him go, and Comet hung his head. "Sweetie, you had nothing to do with her death," Mangrove started before Sun chimed in. "Comet, look at me," he said in an assertive voice. Comet weakly raised his head, and Sun put a hoof on his shoulder. It's not your fault. Nothing was gonna prevent her from dying. Comet snorted, and Sun narrowed his eyes and continued. Sun, listen to me. It wasn't your fault. She died of an irregular heartbeat, and nothing you could have done differently, no medicine you could have given her, no amount of care was going to prevent that. Sweetie, she died smiling, Mangrove chirped up. Nova was happy to see you being yourself. She loved you as much as you loved her, and nothing made her happier than seeing you smile. Comet grunted and was about to give a rebuttal, but the rehearsed words got stuck in his throat at what his father said next. What could you have done to keep her heart from stopping? You didn't know CPR then, and there was no heart medication for her. Comet, the doctors looked me and your mother in the eye and told us even if she was in their care, she would have died regardless. Comet grimaced, and knew he was right. Parents had taught him about caring for her. Only still, the memory stung. I know, but if she hadn't gone with me, she hadn't exerted herself, he sputtered, trying to stop himself from crying like a foal. This time it was Mangrove who put a hoof on his back and spoke. Comet, nothing would have changed. Whether she had left the house or not, it was just her time. Please, Comet, take solace in the fact that she passed on happy because her loving little brother was there, being himself and having fun. She wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Comet ground his teeth, almost unable to stop himself from bawling until his mother had said, Comet, it was painless for her. The doctor said that all it felt like to her was a nap. She wasn't in pain with you. That struck deep into Comet's chest, and he couldn't hold back anymore. He felt he had caused Nova pain before she died. That if she would have stayed home, she might still be here, but his parents were right. Nova did die with a smile, and she didn't act any different than when he was with her. Comet, his father spoke. I know no matter what we say, we weren't there when it happened. It will always sting when you think of her, especially in those final moments, but you need to move on. It'll hurt, but Nova's been dead for years, and she'd be upset if she saw you like this. I know, Comet said weakly. Why don't you just try talking to Angel? Mangrove offered. You look so happy with her, and she told us about the date. Comet's throat tightened, and he said, I exploded at her. When she mentioned Nova, I just couldn't stop myself. Mangrove and Sunstorm looked at their broken down Sun, and as he grimaced, evidently remembering the terrible way that he had reacted to his new mare friend. Sun drooped his ears and tried to think of something to say, but it was Mangrove who spoke up after the brief silence. Comet, dear, if she's anything like we think she is, she won't stay upset for long. Apologize to her tomorrow, and I'm sure she'll understand, Mangrove said in her best motherly voice. At the castle, 2 guard unicorns stood still, almost as rigid as statues. As soon as one yawned, 2 bolts of green magic struck the 2 and knocked them unconscious. A set of black shiny ponies quickly ran up to them and shimmered before becoming matching gray unicorns. The 2 other guards walked by and took the 2 unconscious ponies away, leaving the changed guards to stand post. After taking a long and winding journey, avoiding any and all ponies, the 2 carrying the knocked-out guards reached the armory. They walked up to a large wooden door and knocked twice before the big burly armorer opened it. He looked down at the odd sight and nodded quickly, moving aside to let the ponies enter. The door hidden by the rack of tools rattled open to reveal several ponies sitting in a trance, while 2 changelings walked around inspecting them. The guards dumped the ponies, and the changelings hissed. Why don't you 2 do this while we prance around in armor? One complained. A guard glared at it and said, You lost the drug strolls. You know, the ancient code of ours. You made that up, one shouted angrily. No,
Queen Chrysalis made that official.
The pony remarked before the door closed.
Did she really?
The other guard pony replied.
If you act thick, we might think you're a pony too.
The first guard replied. Okay. So that's chapter 18. Yeah, 18 of the Golden Armor. Moving forward. Thank you guys for listening, and have a good one.